On Thursday, the Trump administration signed an executive order entitled, quote, "Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History." This order targets two institutions, the Smithsonian Institution and the Department of Interior. This order states, over the past decade, Americans have witnessed a concerted and widespread effort to rewrite American history. This revisionist movement seeks to undermine the remarkable achievements of the United States by casting the founding principles and historical milestones in a negative light. Human happiness is reconstructed as inherently racist, sexist, and oppressive, end of quote. The executive order takes specific aim at the National Museum of African American History and the Museum of Women's History that is yet to be built in the United States in Washington, D.C. The order specifically directs Vice President J.D. Vance. As I mentioned previously in the 5 minutes, he is an acolyte of the so-called philosopher and anti-democratic promoter Curtis Yarvin, who believes that some races are built for servitude. And also Peter Thiel, who is the billionaire funder of J.D. Vance. And it should be noted that he is a South African, Afrikaner, and J.D. Vance has been instructed by the person who occupies the White House currently, but not permanently, named Trump, to root out any American divisive ideology and exhibits that make America look bad. This executive order also seeks to reinstall Confederate monuments taken down during the Black Lives Matter movement. It must be noted, the Smithsonian is not a federal institution. It is a public-private partnership. The majority of the money for the Smithsonian comes from persons like yourselves. The majority of the money for the National Museum of African American History comes from people like us. It does, however, receive money from the government, but it is not dependent on the government to survive. The Board of Regents of the Smithsonian has 17 people, and J.D. Vance is only one person and has no authority over exhibits, the hiring or firing of staff, and he cannot place people on the board. It should be also noted, the National Museum of African American History is the most visited museum of all the Smithsonian museums, with almost 3 million people a year. The reason this executive order was created was to distract all of us from a bigger ethical and moral issue: the incompetence and possible criminal acts of an administration placing military plans on an unsecured consumer app called Signal and inviting a reporter from The Atlantic on the text thread by, quote, mistake. This executive order was written to get us distracted, just like 3-Card Monte from The True Story. The real story is the deeply incompetent men and women who are in positions of power in this administration. They want to erase our history and distract us from their incompetence and lack of qualifications. I want to announce today that if any funding is taken away from the National Museum of African American History, Trinity United Church of Christ is placing the National Museum of African American History in our annual budget. And I am asking those who are a part of this village to become a member of the National Museum of African American History. For only $25 a year, you can protect Black history. And when people ask you, why did you choose to support this institution, the National Museum of African American History, just simply say, I go to a church that is unashamedly Black and unapologetically Christian. For my final statement, I must make sure that we do this appropriately. in reference to Robert's Rules of Order, that is recorded in the minutes, that there is a motion to be placed on this floor at this moment that the National Museum of African American History be placed in the annual budget for Trinity United Church of Christ to be determined at a later time by the people. Is there a motion on the floor? Is there a second on the floor? It has been properly seconded. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor of placing the National Museum of African American History in the budget of Trinity United Church of Christ may do so by saying aye. The nays may do the same. And that is my 5 minutes today. Peace.